Alright, how can we quadruple our ores and understand how a thermal evaporation block works? We're going to need it, okay? So let's explain the process, shall we? This is about quadrupling the ores. Which ores? Well, basically the ones we're placing. Now, this all starts with a chemical injection that receives hydrogen chloride, okay? It'll convert the crystals, the iron crystals, into iron shards, and then send it all to this phase, okay? So, things we need to craft, alright? First of all, we must craft this electric pump, okay? Basically, it'll pump water into an electrolytic separator, which will convert the water into hydrogen and oxygen. We'll need both, okay? The electric pump requires energy, got it? The energy in this case is coming from this wind generator, and the electrolytic also needs energy, right? Water pumped into the electrolytic produces hydrogen on the left and oxygen on the right, okay? We'll also need a thermal evaporation block, alright? How does it work? We'll need a controller in the block, okay? We'll also need valves to insert the water and heat, got it? Yeah, since it's a water thermostat, right? And how does it function? Well, basically we make a base, okay? 4x4. Boom, 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 boom. Got it? We put the controller here and increase the height, all right? I think the minimum is 6 or 7, something like that. Look, there we go. Now we're at the minimum. Obviously 3. We need to put valves to insert different wiring. What wiring should we insert? Well, in this case, I've increased the height. I used a pump, which I explained earlier, and inserted water through a mechanical pipe, okay? Then I used a thermodynamic conductor, alright? Using a resistive heater. Once again, it runs on electricity, super simple. I set the usage to 300, okay? You type 300, hit OK. Basically, the resistive heater will transfer heat to the thermal evaporation block, got it? What'll happen here is the water will evaporate, gradually generating brine, okay? We'll take the brine to the electrolytic separator, alright? Another electrolytic separator. This will convert it into sodium and chlorine, okay? As you can see, it runs on electricity and such, right? So what we'll do is take the chlorine from this element, okay? We don't need the sodium. And chlorine, basically, we're going to mix it with hydrogen. Hydrogen, remember, comes from the water pump's electrolytic separator, right? Remember, I said we need oxygen and hydrogen. We take hydrogen, add chlorine, and get hydrogen chloride. Sorry if I'm not saying the names correctly. Then we connect this hydrogen chloride to the chemical injection chamber. Now we have the chemical injection chamber working. We'll move the items it generates with the logical transporter. I made it longer in sections, then we'd move it to the triplicator, okay? I've explained the triplicator in a video, but basically, we process the crystals through a purification chamber, crusher, enrichment chamber, and energized smelter to quadruple the ores, okay? Each of these components I mentioned requires energy. Got it? Importantly, the purification chamber needs osmium. I put osmium ore in this case, okay? But what we'll actually receive are these shards, alright? Sorry, I mean we'll get these shards, okay? As you can see, it requires oxygen. And where do we get the oxygen from? From the pump I mentioned earlier. We used hydrogen before, now we need oxygen. So we add it here and we're done. Everything's set. It's that simple.